Welcome back, everyone, to Cracking the Restaurant Labor Crunch. With me today, Mr. Scott Meyer, and he is a franchise owner and executive recruiter with Patrice and Associates. Scott, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on, Roger.
Well, I'm really glad you're here, Scott, because you've got certain expertise as a recruiter. And I think the word recruiting is a key element here because traditionally restaurants have hired people. They haven't necessarily recruited people. And there's a huge difference between those two things. And I've always believed that when you put a sign out, like we drive around anywhere in America today, it doesn't matter what the business is, restaurants, of course, but they all have these signs out front, these changeable letters. Some of them are 20 feet in the air, and it's like now hiring. We're paying $15 an hour, $20 an hour, hiring bonuses, incentives. You see it everywhere. And it's this really cannibalistic time where everyone's trying to get whatever they can get in the door. And although these are difficult, desperate times for many operators, unfortunately, you hire a lot of people that just aren't going to give your restaurant the best impression to your customers, your guests. There's a lot of restaurant employees out there that, they're just not reliable. They're there just for the paycheck. They're not there for the right reasons. So these are some of the challenges that our operators are facing. But what are you seeing, Scott? And what can you tell our listeners and our audience about, what your best advice might be?
Yeah, Roger. I think it's a tough time. There's no doubt about it. And right now, it's really a time to truly reflect from. I think it's a top-down approach that restaurants have to take. Obviously, the line workers, the front of the face of the customers are the hardest to bring in right now because there are these bonuses. 500 here, 1,000 here, 250. Stay this long, stay that long.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it, that's not what's going to keep people. And we've had I'm part of our chamber here in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. We just had a great meeting just about this, and it's a stepping stone. It's a process. It as I mentioned, it goes from the top down. And what I mean by that is that it's what's in it for me for the customer, the candidate coming in for the job. What can they see in the future? Where can they grow? What are the steps they can take? And we've been in the restaurant world for so long, and things just went great. Things are hopping out. Things are great, but you have to take the time to take a step back. The companies that have done that during the COVID and revamped their culture and took a step back and were honest and said, hey, these are what we're good at. These are what we're not good at. How can we bring the people in the door, and how can they see a future succeeding right now?
I think I'm hearing the idea of culture when I hear you speak, because, okay, everyone's fighting for employees and everyone's fighting with wages and all that other kind of stuff. But it still comes down to, what is your work environment like? Is it fulfilling? Is it rewarding? Are people empowered, or are people just, orders are barked at them all day long and, the boss is a jerk kind of thing? And there's two different kinds of managers out there. There are those who delegate, and anybody can tell somebody what to do, but it's a rare manager that develops his people, nurtures them, gives them more responsibility, lets them fail as long as they're using good judgment, whether they learn something, and they're building people up, in the organization, giving them opportunities to grow as a person. They have a voice, their ideas are listened to and recognized. I mean, there's a complete different, sort of a mindset shift about how you approach your staff. I mean, are you seeing any of that? Do you see really great employers out there that really just develop an organization versus hire a warm body in the door just to get the job done?
I do. And I think, like I said, those are the companies that are successful, because when they bring somebody in, they stay. I mean, ultimately, it's about retention, right? It's about,
it is.
Will
Absolutely.
you stay with the company or will you not? Are you going to come? Are you going to even show up for the interview or not? And all that comes from having a great culture, having a great name, and, being there for the customer, being the candidate from day one. So it's ultimately, what's in it for me. I don't care where you are, what business you are. If you want a candidate, it's what's in it for them. So you have to show them, and you have to be sincere. And when I said top down, I mean even above the manager. So the district manager, the VP of operations, the COO, it has to be to where they can see it and they can feel it. And when they walk in, they can say, hey, you know what? I have a chance of actually being 2 levels above. I have a chance of, reaching where I want to go. I can see a career path. In our business, things were just so go. You had managers that have been in positions for years, 20, 30 years, that maybe should be in there, maybe they shouldn't. Times change. So should they be where they are right now? Those are things that really take a step back, because the building blocks, they crumble. If it's not where it needs to be high, you're not going to get the right people in the door and be successful. You'll get them in the door. They'll stay 6 months. They'll stay till that time frame's over for that $500 or $1,000. And you know what they're going to do next?
Yeah,
they're going to go get the next $1,000 that's out there, just the way it is.
Oh my God, you're right. Absolutely right. Absolutely. So is there a certain approach? I'm loving this idea of what you're saying about sort of that paradigm shift. Okay, we're creating a different environment here. How do we communicate that to potential employees to combat the signs on every sign that says now hiring $15 an hour and bonuses and incentives? It's like, how do you cut through all that clutter and get the message out? Is it social media? Is it any other channels? Like, what would you suggest an operator do to sort of entice people with a better place to work, not just more money?
That's a great question. I have business partners that I use personally that I refer to that, really deep dive in the culture, take a step, we'll reassess the plan. When it comes to social media, you have to have a social media plan in place so they can at least see you. You want to be seen, and then at least that gets the foot in the door. The other aspect is obviously the most important that I say is your referrals from within. So if you're doing a great job, they'll pass the word on. Whether it's someone like myself that can continue to pass the word on through networking. That's what's everybody right now. If you're looking for a job, I don't care where it is, I encourage you to network. You need to find out. I represent both sides of the fence. I represent the candidate. I represent the client. And it needs to be a fit. I don't care, what it is. You want to make sure that you're walking in somewhere, whether you're a dishwasher, whether you're a manager, whether you're a district manager, regional rep, you've got to make sure that you're making the right choice. And it's hard to do because you don't know. They're making it easy right now with the salaries. Things are changing in the world where, the candidates have the upper advantage. They can see the salaries. They know what they're walking into. COVID and this aspect has changed a lot of things, but the labor crunch is still there. It's going to be there. It's not a magic pill that you can take to make changes, but it's a stepping stone. It's having great partnerships and networking to help share your vision, your culture, and, whatever you say it is, make sure it is what you say it is.
A lot of people are shaking their heads wondering what happened to all these good people out there where every industry now suddenly, it's almost like, 500,000 people just disappeared off the planet and they're no longer available to work. It's strange. I mean, there are theories about, okay, the government had the special, unemployment compensation on top of your state's unemployment compensation, which really encouraged a lot of people to stay home for a long period of time. But now that's gone. But it hasn't driven the candidates to the jobs now. And it doesn't matter what the industry is. I mean, you see the airline industry is missing pilots. It's like, if you're a restaurant owner, not only are you having the challenge of finding your labor, but chances are your distributor is having problems delivering the food to your door because they don't have pickers in the warehouse and they don't have drivers to drive the trucks. I speak from experience when I say that because, I've been in the business recently and I've had those problems. It's like, what happened to the people? Any theories there?
I don't know. I mean, the supply chain, that's a big problem. That's not quite this, but it does lead to labor. So they're having problems, getting the product out. So they're having problems hiring people to get the product out when they have the product. So it's a trickle down effect. So I think that, and I guess I can't say much more about it than culture. And it's been that way. It's, it's allowing people to see it. So, to kind of reflect on myself, my background was a 20-year stockbroker, and I worked for one of the largest companies, Fidelity. And it's the internal process that helps you bring the people in. So that's what I try and share with my clients is like, you have to have it laid out. You from day one, when they come into orientation, you have to wow. It's about the wow, right? So they're looking for candidates to have the wow. Candidates are looking for employers to have the wow. If you have the wow, no matter what industry you're in, and they can see that, hey, you know what? I was on unemployment for a year. I took some time off with family. Maybe I was working a year straight. I needed some time. That's okay. So it's time for employers to say, okay, we can find the right people and understand where they come from. For like myself, where I have the chance to really talk to the people, like what happened in that year? What happened in 6 months that you were off? Let me learn more about you. And I can bring that to the candidate who's hiring and say, look, this is the paper, this is the resume you're looking at, but this is the person. This is the culture they're going to bring. This is the attitude they're going to bring. And lining those two up is what you need. So right now, Myself, I'm getting very busy. I'm here in northern Kentucky, greater Cincinnati, but I recruit all across the nation through different friends and referrals and networking. But more importantly, I see myself as a coach, and you need that coach to really coach up the candidate, have somebody there to support your business, and make sure that you find the right fit and the culture is there. I don't care what it is; it's always been the culture. It will always be the culture. It's about enjoying your job, enjoying life satisfaction, no matter where you are.
That's awesome. Now, I heard you say earlier you work on both sides of the fence. You work with client companies and you also work with individual people. Let's talk about Patrice and Associates. Tell us what you specialize in and how you're helping this world and this problem right now.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I work with Patrice and Associates. We're the largest hospitality firm in the country. We specialize over 30 years in restaurants. So we have a very vast network of over 150 franchise owners, 300 recruiters. So it's a little different from your major firm because a lot of firms are out of business right now, restaurants. You see a lot of new firms coming up and not a lot of new recruiters popping up. But we've been here. We've been here through the COVID. I've got a 20, 30-year plan. I'm not going anywhere. None of us franchise owners are. We eat, sleep, breathe it to really just help people. It's we help the candidates. We network. I'm part of the Northern Kentucky Restaurant Association, so I spread through state of Kentucky and spread out nationally to the NRA. It's about seeing the trends so I can then speak to the candidate, and I can also speak to clients. So clients hire me, obviously, to help find the top talent that they can't find, because right now job boards are difficult. I use job boards. Every job board there is. It's hard. You can either wait for that perfect candidate that's an A+ that hasn't had many jobs in years, or you can hire somebody like myself who goes and finds them for you and finds those people that you can't find. The other big thing that's advantage of a lot of people through COVID have laid off their HR. They might be down to 1 or 2 or 0. Now you've got the VP of Ops trying to run the business, trying to recruit for smaller, 1, 2, 3 store, 10 store franchises. It's about impossible because you can't do both sides of the fence. You can, but are you going to do it efficiently? Are you going to get the best people in? Are you going to run the best operations? Probably not.
How does the audience find Patrice and Associates, no matter where they're at in the country? Because you're obviously letting us know that you've got multiple offices and it is a franchise, and you are obviously helping the nation here. Is it patriceandassociates.com with A and D spelled out?
It is, yes. So you can go to Patrice at www.patriceandassociates.com. For myself, like I said, you won't find me necessarily there. That's our website with our vast any city, but probably reach out to you, Roger, to get in touch with myself, individualized. But yeah, so we cover every major city in the country. We're just here to help and be a coach and make sure that we want to restaurants, not just be there. We want to strive and keep going forwards because we are busy right now and the opportunity's there. It's just a matter of find the right match for the right people in the right industry, and I think that we can help provide that for anybody.
Well, you and your colleagues are doing the industry a great service. So thanks so much for appearing on the show. If anyone's interested in getting a hold of Scott, they can reach out to me, Roger, Roger, at restaurantrockstars.com. I'd be happy to make an introduction if we can help. That's what we're here for. Thank you so much, Scott Meyer from Patrice and Associates, and thanks to Performance Food Service for sponsoring our program. Please stay tuned for other installments of Cracking the Restaurant Labor Crunch. Thank you, audience, for tuning in, and everyone, stay well. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks. Make it a great day. Appreciate it.